Ta-da! This is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. It looks like we're up with a really bad quality stream, but it's better than nothing. Hopefully you guys are hearing me now. Put my phone down. Oops. Yep, this is a real organized stream, obviously. Yeah, the one day I don't have my backup computer. Of course, that computer is not strong enough to run the streaming software anyways. Oh, look, see, it's freezing up already. Come on. Not good, not good. I have no idea if you're catching me now. I'm going to check on my phone again. Did it freeze again? It looks like it did. Ah, it's froze. Although not as bad as last time. OBS is still working. So what? Just the browser froze? Oh, it's kind of moving now. Ah. Okay. Now I'm just gonna hope it holds together. It's barely working. Okay, so not a ton of Emmys again this week. I don't know. It's getting slow. Are we hitting are we hitting a big slow patch? Is it going to stay slow? I don't know. This is the longest slow zone that I've been in, though, definitely. Okay, so here we go. Turn off the phone again. Hopefully I haven't cursed myself. This one, Lesotho. Countries in Africa. Never heard of Lesotho. It's here. We had to do all the countries before, and this was not one of them. Weird. Okay, so what the heck is a sovereign state anyway? Is that a country? They're saying Lesotho is a country. I was trying to figure out what's the difference between a sovereign state and a country. And it's not real obvious. The most common word used to designate the sovereign entities that make up the world geopolitical order is countries. In common parlance, a country is the same thing as a sovereign state, which also can be called a nation or a nation state. So I'm not really figuring out why this one's called a sovereign state that's a country, but there's these other ones over here that are sovereign states that aren't called countries, and I don't know if it's because they're new. I've kind of covered a little bit of this in the past, that like Vatican City and Washington D.C. now are like their own little sovereign states, and I don't remember that being the case. We've got San Marino, most serene enclave microstate in southern Europe. What the heck's a microstate? So an enclave is a country, all right, let's see. It's a territory that is surrounded entirely by the territory of another state. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out if these other ones are countries. I mean, they're not saying that Vatican City or Washington, D.C. is a country, but there's not really an obvious explanation about why they aren't a country. Same with the San Marino. San Marino is a microstate. Lesotho is a country. It's an enclave country. Then there's this one, Nagorno-Karabakh, enclave by Azerbaijan, also known as Artsakh, is a landlocked region within the mountains. Okay, so it's just a landlocked region. Why is it got its own? I mean, it has its own government, I would imagine. Anyway, the whole thing is just kind of weird. All right, so what is Nagorno Karabakh then? Why is it its own little separate thing? Oh, it's a disputed territory. Okay, I have not heard of that one. Interesting. Um, anyway, there's a bunch of these springing up. It's just weird. Keep an eye on this. Anyway, never heard of Lesotho. This one was found by Het Harbinger on Retcon. That's the login name. HET_HARBINGER. It was a Retcon post. Also, he was talking about Eswatini, which is here, which was recently called Swaziland. It's almost kind of a similar, almost landlocked thing. I actually don't remember Swaziland being its own country. I thought it was just a region. But these have both been around since the 60s. And then a while back we covered that we didn't remember this, the Central African Republic, which you have to sort of zone. Where did that go? Here. Nobody remembered that. Central African Republic. I also have to say, I really don't remember Gabon going way back either. So, I don't know, weird stuff happening in Africa. All right, I'm going to check and see what's going on. Hopefully you're still catching me. All right, I don't have my backup computer today, so I just have to jump back and forth. Let's see who's all in here. Maria, Miss Imaginary, Data Junkie, Anna Della, David Cook, Shari D, Royal Magnolia, Mark, Ravenhawk. Yeah, I don't think any of us really know what it is. Timelines. I tend to think it's something like timelines, but I mean, what's timelines? Just because you put a word to it doesn't mean you know what it is. Also, you kind of have to have some kind of word to use, and timelines is about as good as anybody could come up with, so. Even the Schumann Resonance equipment is having a massive outage, along with Expedia and Google Virus Scanner. Huh, interesting. Retrocausality. Yeah, I mean, but if it's retrocausality, that only just means, I guess that implies some kind of quantum thing. The problem is some of them have more than two versions. So if there's like 3 or 4 versions, then if it was retrocausality, it should be the original version and the new version. Yeah, my stream is definitely messing up. Today we have live chat with Eva pulling out her hairs in background. Could you see me pulling out my hairs? All right, reading through. I'm way behind. All right, I think I'm just going to jump ahead because I'm like way behind. Native Americans in the U.S. are sovereign citizens without a nation. Yeah, but are they a nation state? Yeah, I guess that could be an argument in certain regions. What is the difference between a nation, like a sovereign nation, and a country, though? What really is the difference? Why is Lesotho a country, but other ones aren't? Is it just size? There should be like an explanation, and I'm not finding it. But the reason I was looking is because I have not heard of all these recent nation states, especially not Lesotho, and that one's a pretty big one. My city, Pretoria, is merging with Johannesburg. Huh, interesting. Ever heard of the triple point of water? No, I have not heard of the triple point of water. Let's see if we can get the internet to work. Triple point of water. That's interesting. Temperature and pressure at which a substance can exist in equilibrium in the liquid, solid. I'm going to write that one down. So I'm assuming like weird things happen at that state. Let's see what we have for images here. Ooh, asking it to pull up images. I'm almost afraid to try to run any more YouTubes. But it looks like weird things happen at the triple point. So I'm guessing basically you're going to have all three at once here. That might be, that's interesting. Yeah, no, I've not heard of triple point. Did I check out the parrot owl? No, I did not. You know what? The last few comments I really didn't have time to check out. Oh, that's that kakapo. Yeah, we've covered those. They're weird. They're looking a little stranger than they were for the last time. But yeah, those have been on kakapos. The face looks a little bit more distinctive. Weird little birds. They act strangely. They don't fly. Yeah, that one has been on. I just didn't hear it as called the parrot owl. Okay, so I'm just going to well, yeah, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover on those. All right. This one I ran into, if you know your eye anatomy, they say that we just have rods and cones as the two visual options, that the two things in our eyes that process light. And the rods do the black and white light, and they don't see color, but they're better at seeing in the dark or in low light situations. And then the cones are the ones that see color, and you have three kinds, so you can see different colors. And they aren't as good at seeing in the dark. That's why when the light gets low, everything looks kind of black and white. Although, to me, it looks a little greenish, and I've heard other people say that too. And I don't think it always looked greenish, so I think there's a change in the eyes there. But anyways, beyond that, apparently now there's this third one, which I had a bunch of stuff highlighted, but that's all gone now. That there's a third one called, what was it called? A third type of photoreceptor in the early 1990s. So they've known about this for quite some time. And it sees like blue light. So people who are blind, apparently, if you shine this blue light on them, they can see the light, that light only. I don't get how they didn't, ever stumble onto this blue light and all their walking arounds and see flashes of light. But apparently, if you have this, you can lose all your rods and cones and still see this other light. The heck is the name of those things? I had it highlighted. They're called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. I'm assuming that the ME will come up with a simpler name for those. All right, so they were discovered in 2002. This article is from 2011. Yet I other recent research on this stuff, I did not come up with any of this. Just stumbled on that. That was interesting. So basically, we have a new type of vision, basically, where we can see these. Just weird. All right, look at the hourglass on that arrow. It's this one. The Forbidden Island in Hawaii. I don't know if any of you have heard about this. State residence. Ihau, about 18 miles northwest of Kauai, is the Forbidden Island. It has been privately owned by the same family since 1864, when Elizabeth Sinclair purchased it from King Kamehameha V for $10,000. How can there be an island and like even the state residents don't know about it, and it's like right there? So there's this whole freaking island called ihau. That one makes me laugh because it's kind of like how are you in Chinese, ni hao ma. All right, so let's look at a map of this thing. So there's this whole island. It's apparently had people living on it and all this business. It's supposed to be really pretty. There's Kauai, so it's like right there. Basically, I think there's a lot more islands on here, and I think they're getting a lot bigger. But this is another one. I'm betting dollars to donuts that ni hao also gets bigger over time. See what they say, 18 miles. 18 miles northwest. So that's a lot more than 18 miles, I think. 70 square miles, island of Nihao. So supposedly she bought this and she didn't let any technology on it for the whole time. Aubrey Robinson stopped outsiders. Other people are saying it was curtailed in the 1930s to protect indigenous Nihoans from contracting foreign diseases such as measles and polio. So they have this whole island that basically nobody's been allowed onto. The whole story behind this is really weird. They are living this like ancient lifestyle, supposedly. Maintains a lifestyle from a bygone era. Fishing and hunting. Very few modern conveniences. No indoor plumbing. No cars. No stores. No internet. And no paved roads. Residents travel by bicycles or foot, and they don't pay rent. Anyway, there's this. The whole story is just weird. They're saying the island's in decline. I just think the island is brand new, basically. So supposedly there's people living on this island and everything. Just 18 miles off of Kauai. I mean, I don't know. You guys ever heard of this thing? Let me know, because I sure haven't. Whales with fangs. Yeah, I know. They didn't have teeth. They just had baleen. Only 7 islands. Ni hao. Yeah, I just want to say ni hao ma, which means how are you in Chinese. Or a 1. The 4th side of the 3 is 1. Still around. Doop. You can see how this thing jumps on me all the time. Honestly, the Bible seems to suggest now that Jesus is the Antichrist. Yeah, I've seen some stuff that just sounds weird coming out of the Bible now. The helmeted hornbill. All right, let me check it out. Okay, so it's another one with the giant things on top of its head. Yeah, there's so many like that. I have not seen this particular one. There's so many weird birds with all this with stuff on top of their head now. Yeah, I've not seen that one. I've seen this stuff progressing. The waddles and the weird neck stuff, and then the giant stuff on top of there. So first they'd have a beak with things, and then maybe some down there, and then it got more and more. And now it's like their whole head is like a half a beak. That's interesting. Yeah, I have not seen the helmeted hornbill. A progression of that pattern that we've been seeing. I'm going to write that one down too. And the lizards have been doing a lot like that too. That's like one ugly looking bird. Yeah, see the beak stuff is growing up onto the head now. The eye, look at the eye is almost in the beak. I mean, the beak is coming around now, and it's kind of encapsulating the eye. That's actually kind of weird. See, look at that. The eye is like half in the beak now. So is there going to be like an eye sticking out of a beak eventually? And look at that. That looks like it's cow leather, patent leather neck. Yeah, definitely a very weird thing. I agree with you on that. Strap-toothed whale, we've had that one on before. All right, let me just check it out again. Sometimes they keep changing too. Well, I think just about always they keep changing. Images. Yeah, it's just another one of those weird beaky mouths. Yeah, the one with the like the freaking tooth sticking out. Yeah, it looks like they're bigger now. They were smaller when we first looked at them. Yeah, why would you even need those? Okay, so they've got these upward facing fangs. That's weird. See if we can. So look, these. Yeah. Writing it down. Yeah, they just had like little nubs last I checked them. Looks like the strap things, the teeth things are much more extensive now. All right, here's an image. Look at those. Psh, looks ridiculous. Beaked whale. Yeah, you know, they weren't like that. They weren't that extensive before. Okay, so you remember 7 islands. I just don't remember certain ones. I actually I didn't memorize a number, but there's ones I don't remember. Okay, so where are we here? So I was trying to get this one to load. I'm almost afraid to try it now. I have to go off the original link, I think, is the only safe way. Well, I don't know if it's the safe way, but... Right here. YouTube. The new YouTube studio is really glitchy too. I try to just go back to Creator Studio. All right. It seems to be working a little better now. This is a comment section. Where was that one? Manta rays. I wanted to cover this one. Manta rays have been getting bigger and bigger. I've been really suspicious, and if I decided if they got... Okay, well, it was this person who found them. Okay, so look at how big they are now. These are... I don't want to run too much of that. We'll just flick belong here. What are they calling these? Giant oceanic manta rays. And this is by Christina Gerald. They can weigh 3,000 pounds, and they can have a 30-foot wingspan. I'm calling Emmy on that one. They're now substantially larger than... This is a little man here, so these are like totally dwarfing him. Granted, there's a perspective issue here, but with him being in the distance, but still 30 foot. They can have a 30-foot wingspan now, 3,000 pounds. So mantas are definitely getting bigger. Not to mention that they didn't used to jump through the air and fly for short distances. Plus the coloration. Let's check out some of this stuff. The coloration on these. And they seem to be always festooned with these little cleaner fish sucking on them. Look at the coloration on these mantas now. Look at that one. Look at that one. Giant oceanic manta ray. And they're all different too. My old timeline, there'd be like one coloration for at least all the males would have the same coloration. But here they all have strikingly different patterns. Look at that. Some of these are just exquisitely patterned. All different. You can see the underside. That one's got like a black lines under it. This one doesn't. This one has weird spots on the mouth parts. This one has... Each one has a totally different underside. Look at that one. And the mouth here is so wide. And these little finger things are so much bigger than I remember. They have a huge gaping mouth now. Kind of like they're like little whales. They're getting big, and their mouth opens like some of the newer whales have this big mouth. I don't remember whales having that mouth either, like that. But some of the whales now have that kind of mouth. Anyway, so I call Emmy on that one. I agree with Christina Gerald on that one. They're getting too freaking big. Just too big. Yeah, they cropped up a while ago, but they weren't 30 foot long. That they were giant, but they were not that giant. They were just a little bigger than a man. When I saw the ones as big as men, I was like, I don't remember them being that big. But now I'm like, okay, there's the biggest ones I can find. If they get any bigger, I'm calling Mandela. Yeah, it's like a little mini whale. I don't see any reason why they can't be they can just keep growing as big as a whale. Yeah, they used to be just gray. They didn't have all the... They're really cool colors now. All right, so got that one. Did the vision science. This one's interesting for me. They found a diamond inside a diamond. Matryoshka diamond. This one's getting fairly viral. It was found by In the Name of Jesus We Stand, otherwise known as Bensidor. He, I guess, comments under both names. So there's a little diamond, and it's loose inside this big diamond. I'm seeing more and more stones that kind of follow this pattern of like a stone inside a stone, loose, like it's flopping around in there. So I think we're going to see more like that. This diamond thing is really kind of advertised it, and it just seems like once something's advertised like this, then you just see a ton of them. So this little one here is clanking around inside this big one. They're trying to argue the little one formed and then the big one formed around it, but it doesn't really explain how the air gets in there. Okay. So as a stone person, you know, who was interested in gemstones, I found that was really interesting. All right, now this one's from John Austin. He sees a lot of the spelling ones and name ones. Unfortunately, a lot of those people I don't know, but I do remember Bret Farve. Remember it like that, Bret Farve. And Bret Farve is now Bret Favre, former American football quarterback who spent the majority of his career with the Green Bay Packers. He wasn't Favre, it was Farve, Farve. Now it's Favre. So the R has migrated to be behind the V. Bret Favre. It was totally Bret Favre. And this one, I'm not even, you know, I don't even watch this stuff that much, but the names and stuff were always so funny. Another football player, commentator, and actor, Dick Butkis. It was always Butkis. I mean, it was kind of a joke, you know, but now it's Butkis, Butcus. Definitely changed. It used to be Butkis. Wouldn't want to have that last name, but there you go. Anyway, so that's another one that's changed. So many name changes. All right. You know we have to have a spider in every show. So I saw this thing. Thousands of tarantulas crawl over San Francisco in search of mates. All right, so the stories are that it was unusually warm, which makes no sense because you know, there have been many years when it was way more warm than it is now, way more. And there weren't tarantulas. There's no tarantulas in freaking San Francisco. At least there didn't used to be tarantulas in freaking San Francisco. I'm wondering if that's them too, because the ones we have here are darker. These guys look very tan and brown. They didn't used to survive in the cold like that. San Francisco is pretty freaking cold in the winter. I've looked into pet tarantulas in the past. They always used to say that they required high humidity and warm temperatures. You had to put a little heat thing on there. Even here in Southern California, I would need to like add humidity and make sure that they were kept in the house and kept in a warm room because they were tropical creatures. You know, they could barely even survive here. They certainly couldn't survive way up north in San Francisco, the windy city. That's ridiculous. Okay, so also I lived in Northern California, you know, my whole entire childhood. There were no freaking tarantulas there. But apparently now they're getting inundated with tarantulas due to the warm weather that is not warm. In fact, we've had a mild summer this year, so I don't get it. But actually, let me just check if that was this year they supposedly inundated. Oh, yeah, see, 2019. It hasn't even been that warm. Anyway, so weird. Tarantulas in Northern California. I call Mandela on that one big time. All right. We're coming down the home stretch. I told you I didn't have many this time, so I'm going to just see what you guys are up to here. I lent out my backup computer, so I didn't have it. So, of course, this computer dies. My phone was still able to log in, though. So that's why I'm over here instead of using my backup computer. All right, wait. I got to go back to live streaming. Excuse me. Yeah, so we've had really a slow patch. I'm feeling better. I don't know if those two are related, but they quite possibly could be. I don't know if everybody's done. I don't know if I'm done shifting. Like I said, I did see a change last week. I mentioned that change in the car, and that was very recent. So things are still shifting. It just seems like it's slowed down a lot. I don't think it's done. At least I've had one just last week. But and I was really looking this week at a lot of different places and just wasn't seeing much. I saw a lot of MEs, but they were all older MEs being pushed still. A new weird problem in her finger and a habit of rolling her finger that she says is a nervous tick. She never had that before. Her family history is different. Stuff in her living room has changed. That she says has always been there that way, and um, she's just more stable in this timeline. She just mentally just kind of more even keel. She used to kind of fly off the handle more and lose her crap more, and she's just way more stable in this timeline. Interestingly, her life has more challenge timeline though. She harder things that I don't even think she could have her old version of herself could even deal with. She has to deal with in this timeline. But they haven't been extensive in my close friends. Finger rolling symptom of Parkinson's disease. Yeah, see, she has she's always had a kind of tremor when she's trying to pay attention to something. Her hand trembles. When the more she concentrates on trying to control it, the worse it is. It doesn't tremble all the time. When she's doing something else, it doesn't tremble. It's only when she goes to do things. Now, we've discussed this extensively in the past, like 5 or 6 years ago, and her dad had it, and he died of a ripe old age. No illnesses. I think it was heart attack. I mean, he didn't have any brain problems, but he had the tremor. She has it, and so she was kind of. The story was she was relieved because he died of an old age without having it, and it was not associated with Parkinson's disease 5 years ago. And she looked it up and researched it. I looked it up and researched it. Everybody checked, and woo, thank God, it's just some weird thing that she had. But now it is associated with Parkinson's, and her dad had Parkinson's. Okay, so when I'm talking about history changes, there you go. So now she is worried about it, and her dad did have Parkinson's, and it's a whole different history. So, yeah, there you go. And she still has the tremor. But I don't know, maybe in 5 years it won't be Parkinson's anymore. Who the heck knows? Or it'll be Parkinson's or something else. Or so helter skelter. It's not. It, all right. I remember helter skelter with an HEL. If you're telling me it's changed to helter skelter, look at this computer. Come on. Helter skelter. It should be helter skelter. It was always helter skelter for me. Okay, it's still the same. Helter skelter. Um, for me, that is the original. Now I have covered that Ku Klux Klan thing. Now it's Ku Klux Klan. That one I have covered. Um, yeah, Ku Klux. It was always KLU. People seem about halvesies on that split, but it was always Ku Klux Klan for me. Now it's Ku Klux Klan. But I never had Helter Skelter. I don't know that one. Only in pictures it says Helter? Are you serious? That's even weirder. Helter Skelter, the Manson murders. I don't know. I'm not seeing that other one, but okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. Okay, so there's that one. Tarantulas. Okay, last one is by Jay Emblin, commenter on the channel. I saw this just recently. I thought it was suspicious, but I wasn't 100% sure. Sometimes I see stuff, I'm like, I'm really suspicious. But then it's not until somebody else says something that I finally go, okay, that's 2 votes, mine than theirs. I'm going to put that on. And so Jay Emblin also was talking about these caul births. It's CAUL. Basically, the baby is born inside the amniotic sac, so the sac doesn't burst. I've never heard of that before. It looks creepy as all get out. Sometimes, look, see, this one's just on the head. I've seen a whole bunch of that on this stuff lately. Never heard of it before. And, they look totally creepy. Little aliens. Supposedly, it's considered good luck if they're born inside the amniotic sac. I was always taught that part of the birth was breaking out of the amniotic sac and getting out. And then the sac comes out, and later, like a bit later. It's hard to imagine them squeezing all the way out of the birth canal with that sac intact. Anyway, just something else. Have a nightmare over. I think that's about it for me. I don't have much this week. Oops, I think I lost my There we go. Back to you guys. Blessed with second sight if baby has a caul. All right. Well, good luck, second sight. 10 months pregnancy. Yeah, I know. It was 9 months. 9 months. I've seen that in dogs, huh? Helter Skelter on wall. Okay, hold on. Oh, so he wrote that. All right, if he wrote Helter Skelter, then why is that not the name of it? Huh. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I've not heard of that spelling at all. I mean, I wasn't an expert on it, but it does seem weird. Robert E. Heinlein thought authors could change reality. Huh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting old sci-fi ones that in retrospect kind of predict this kind of thing. Like there was one called Dark They Were and Golden Eyed. Basically humans colonize Mars and then slowly the humans change, and it's a lot like Mandela effect. Basically things change and people are like, oh, it was always that way. But there's one, the protagonist is like, no, no, the grass didn't used to be that color, and everybody's like, oh, you just remembered wrong. And slowly all these things change, and the scary part is the protagonist slowly gets sucked in, and eventually he forgets as well. And eventually they turn into Martians, is what happened. Dark and golden eyed Martians. And they think that they've always been Martians, and it's always been that way. So, yeah, kind of creepy. All right, anyways, I'm done, and you guys seem like you're done. So that's it for this week. Kind of a slow week. I get to bed early this week. Well, 1:20 in the morning is early for me. So thank you guys for coming. Appreciate your contributions. And we'll see what we come up with next week. You know, when I first started this, I thought I would run out of MEs. I'm like, am I going to have enough MEs for a whole hour of talking? But even on this slow week, I have enough MEs to talk an hour. But then I was like getting the point where I had so many MEs I couldn't cover it in 3 hours. So pretty much now I'm covering it in an hour again. So it's really slowed down a lot. I'm still seeing some though, so I don't know if we're going to clip along at like just a much slower pace now. But I'm going to keep my eyes open. And thank you all for coming. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline. Think good thoughts, everybody.